Hello everyone and welcome to Flosstube number 30. Hello everyone, welcome to today's Flosstube. My name is Lizzie and this is part one of our Christmas and July Flosstube stitching update. I have 5 finishes, 3 I believe, 3 of what, no, maybe 4, I don't know. A lot of them are new starts. Let's just jump right in. So the first finish is a new start. This is the Mill Hill First Responder Santa, and this is the Firefighter Santa. So like I said, it's a new start. I didn't have it started before my last video. Here he is. This is what he looks like. Our little Firefighter Santa. His little mustache. It likes to lean to one side. It doesn't have a favored side, but it just likes to lean. I love that little Dalmatian puppy. He actually has no beads in him. This wasn't a super heavily beaded project. There's definitely a lot in the hat. And then you can kind of see right there and right there on his coat. And there's some here. But this was not super heavily beaded. This is my first small Mill Hill. I've done a few Mill Hill buttons and beads kits, but this is my first small Mill Hill and actually my first Mill Hill that I've done on perforated paper. I've stitched other things on perforated paper, just not a Mill Hill. This is using all the kitted materials. I didn't switch anything out. I do have a good bit left, honestly. Let me show you what I have left. The only color I don't have anything left of is the ecru. Actually, I say that, but I do have a little bit of ecru left. But yeah, I have most, I would say probably enough to stitch another one if I wanted to. So we have all that left. I just like to see this. I like other people to show me this, what they have left over for Mill Hill. So I'm showing you, there's all my beads that are left. Yeah. So quite a few materials left, but I love him. I can't wait to finish him. I need to take a trip to the craft store to find some backing paper for him. So I can finish him as a little perforated paper ornament. I do have a really good idea. I think it's a really good idea. If it works, it'll be a really good idea for finishing perforated paper ornaments. I don't think he's the one I'm going to experiment with though, because he's got like a lot of little curves and nooks and crannies. So I'll probably do that with another perforated paper ornament. But yeah, I do have a good idea, I think, for perforated paper ornament finishing. And if it works and I like it once I try it, I will share that with y'all. Next is also a new start and a finish. This is the DMC Collectors Edition Holiday Ornament Kit. I bought this off Amazon. I will link it below. I believe it was $9 or $10 and I love it. All right, so here it is. This is using all the kitted. I'm filming this like in the afternoon. Normally I film at night, so the sun is not on my side. But here he is, and I absolutely love him. All the kitted materials, all the kitted flosses. There's a ton of flosses left, which I'll show you in a minute. I did not realize before stitching it, and that's a little puppet, and then he has like a little drum on his back. Give you a close up. There's a bunch of DMC Etoile there. There is some red too. Where's that at? There's a little bit right here and a little bit right there of DMC Etoile red. And then we have some down here back stitched with that gold Etoile. Just beautiful. So all the kitted materials, I'm going to show you real quick compared to the box image. So basically, there is a lot more saturation in this, which I actually really like. I just wanted to show it to you. That one looks a lot more yellow, where this one's a lot more gray. Also, the biggest difference to me is look at that tree right there, and then look at what it looks like there. Like, it looks like a dead tree in this one. It looks like a dead tree. And this one, it's, you know, luscious and green. Same with that. What's in his hand there? So yeah, I just wanted to show you the difference of that. This one I've actually picked up and I finished all the stitching except I had some right here and I needed to come here. And 2 days ago I picked it up and I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it. And so I finished all the stitching and then I did all the back stitching, which took a while. There's quite a bit of back stitching in there, especially down here. And a lot of details of back stitching, like you can't even see now. Like both of his hands are completely back stitched, all the fingers and everything. but I absolutely love this one. I would 100% buy it again. And look how much floss is left on this one. Every color's left, so much of it. So probably what I'm going to do is, since it's a DMC kit, it is DMC floss, so I'm probably going to match it to the floss in my bobbin bins and just put the extra on the bobbins for all the floss colors I do have. It does come with finishing materials. I think I might switch out the fabrics. It's just a plain red fabric. I do think I want to find some kind of like old world Santa inspired fabric to put on the back of that instead of the red, and then I will finish him. But I'm very excited about him, and I'm definitely going to do the little dangly tassel things on him as well. And the kit does give you detailed finish instructions too, which is really nice. Next one is also a new start since last time, and this is the Harlequin Santa from Satsuma Street. This was stitched on gold perforated paper. That's what it's called for in the pattern. I don't think they make that anymore. So it does tell you that you can either spray paint your own perforated paper, which honestly, I didn't realize this with the last one, but it told you that you could spray paint your own perforated paper, or that you could use metallic floss. Now, I did the Snow Queen, if you saw my last video, and I used satin for her. So him, I did DMC E3852. That's right, E3852, yes, I wrote it down. So I'd remember. That's what I did for him. And so that's all the gold in his face. And then I did some in the middle right here, and then on his coat right there. And I will tell you, this is the most trouble I've ever had with metallic floss. Like every single stitch, sometimes even a half stitch, it would come off my needle. I don't know what was happening. Got the little tassels there. I've never done a fringe stitch before, and I did it on him and I did it on the Mill Santa. So it was my first time doing it, so I got a little bit of practice. But this is 14 count ecru perforated paper, using all the called for except for that metallic, which I told you what it was. And then it's got beads on it. I'm gonna do it like that so you can see them a little better. So those are all beads. Down the middle, he's got some beads. He's got some up here. There's a few in that little wand, which will be cut out, and he'll be holding it there. I might try my new finishing idea with him. I think he would be a good shape. So the only one I have left from the 3 I bought is Clara, which if you watch my videos in December, I did stitch her, started her, and I got a hold of my perforated paper. And a lot of you commented and were like, oh, you can patch it. And when I saw those comments, it was after I had already gotten rid of her, because I was just so upset I got rid of her. I was like, it's okay, I'll start it again. So I am going to start that probably soon. I would love to start it this month. I would love to have all 3 of those done, because there is more Nutcracker ornaments from Satsuma Street. So I would love to get those 3 done so I can kind of start on the next set of Satsuma Street Nutcracker ornaments. All right, next project. One of them was a start. This is a small series. It's this is from the Leisure Arts Christmas Remembered book 10. And I'm stitching The Night Before Christmas smalls. There's a few more on the back. Haven't started any of those yet though. So I had started this one, which I finished, and then I did this little clock. And I did start a 3rd one. These 2 are stitched on 25 count vintage country and mocha, 2/2 using the called for floss. There was a line of back stitch here on this one, which I did admit, I just didn't feel like it needed it. I don't know if I'll probably pick and choose which ones I do it on. So I actually just finished these last night. The last time I showed it to you, that's the progress I had, which I'll put the picture of right here so you can kind of see what it looked like last time. And then I finished everything last night, the back stitching, the rest of the stitching. Then I was like, I know I want the clock to go on the scrap, so let me go ahead and get started on it, and I just finished it. Now there is some French knots on there that I omitted, which I will show you. So you can see here, see that line of French knots right there? I did not do that because I liked the simplicity of this. I kind of went in and put like 3 or 4 of them and didn't love the way it looked, and so I just ripped them out and left it like that. I really like how simple that is. So yeah, there are those 2. I did start another one last night just to get another one started. And I'll show it to you real quick, but it's not, you can't even tell what it is. It just has that red line because there is a red box, but it is, the stockings were hung. So you can see I did that red box right there, but that's what it's gonna look like when it's done. This one and the rest of them I'm gonna stitch on 28 count vintage country mocha, so it'll be a little bit smaller. All right, if we're counting the smalls from that series as individuals, this would be start number 6. This is a Christmas Carol. It is from the CrossStitcher Magazine from November 2024. The designer is Emma Congden, and this is a new start. I'm stitching it 1/2. All right, let me show you the whole thing first. I'm stitching this 1/2 on 36 count Legacy, and this cut is like just the perfect size for it. I believe it was called for either a 14 or 28 count. There we go. But here is what I have so far. So basically we have our maiden milking. This is gonna be a trumpet, and then this is gonna be a little basket with a hen on top. So I think I worked on this one for 3 to 4 days, about 3.5 days. And my main goal was to finish her, which I did, except for there's like 2 stitches right there to her basket, which I did not do. This does not look like a lot of stitching. When I was working on it, it felt like a lot of stitching. I think it's just like a lot of color changes, but also it has good space for fill-in, which is kind of what I set up for up here. And that has a little, another floral motif kind of like that, and then that can be fill-in. This basket, once I do all the weave, I can just fill in the other brown color. So I do want to pick this up again before Christmas in July is over. And my goal is going to be to get it fill-in ready, so this can be a project that I pick up and work on throughout the rest of the year. I don't have any real goals for it. I think the next project I'm going to show you, I'll mention it when I show it to you. I don't know if it's the next one. No, it's not the next one, but it is more of my Christmas goal stitching right now for a Christmas bigger project. So that one's just for fun. I don't have any real plans or goals with it. I just want to stitch it. Okay, so the next one is a whip that I started last Christmas in July, actually. And this is Annie B's Folkart 12 Days of Christmas Stockings. So I have 7 and 8. So 7 is actually a finish. I didn't put it in finishes, but there is 7. It's all done. It does have beads in the center of those little flowers. And then right there, there's beads, and that's 7, there's beads. So that is day 7, 7 swans swimming. And then I did start day 8, which you can see I started with that little top area that each one of them have. These are stitched on 14 count black Aida, which is the called for. I'm using all the called for flosses and the called for beads, which is just a white and a red Mill Hill bead. These I love. I just don't think to pull them out, which is terrible because I want them finished and I really do like them. And I'm excited to like fully finish them. But the honest truth is I just don't think about pulling them out. All right, the next whip is Soaring Santa by Stitcherovia, and I'll put a picture up here of what it looked like last time. And this is that big project that I said I have goals for. So here we go. I did get my pattern via Readily from the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas Magazine from 2020, volume 19. You can get it through Stitcherovia's Etsy, but it is under a different name. So here is where we are. I'm just continuing to work that village. I believe like here over is all new. So I've definitely made a little bit of progress. I'm gonna say I worked on this 3 or 4 days. I don't know. I want to say maybe 3. Probably 3. I remember thinking I should work on this more, and then I got distracted. This is on 28 count DMC white, and it's softened the fabric. It's using all the called for colors. I'm gonna hold it back a little bit. I think it's gonna be about this much wider. And I would love to have a goal of hit the width. Maybe it's not all finished, but just hit the end of the width just to see. And then once I do this, I can work Santa and the reindeer up there, which I really want to do. I have noticed working on all my Christmas whips that in my Christmas decorations, I'm very traditional in color most of the time. I kind of like will switch my themes up. Like one year I did a Grinch tree and one year I did a nativity tree. And so I will switch it up a little bit. And I've never done like these kind of colors, but I tend to gravitate towards it in stitching. Even with the Satsuma Street, this one is very bright Christmas, which doesn't go with my decor very much. But I love them and I will display them, and you know, it'll be fine. It'll work in, but yeah. So there is that one. That is my last Christmas whip. I do have one whip that was not a Christmas whip that oh no, I'm sorry. I have two more. One, I considered it a Christmas whip because it's going to be a Christmas ornament. Brooke's books the Scarecrow from her Wizard of Oz series, which is unfortunately not available anymore because Brooke has passed away. There's been a little bit of talk about her son, I believe it is, opening back up her Etsy shop, but I haven't seen any updates on that in a few months. I am stitching this on 32 count lamb's wool using all the called for flosses, which there is a boatload of for such a small stitch. Yeah, these are terribly tangled. Let me turn around that way. Maybe they'll look a little bit better. A little bit. Yeah, I should just push and finish him. There is also a DMC metallic in there, which I haven't gotten to yet. I think that's for his little straw that pokes out. I really just need to work on him and push him to a finish because for such a small project, he's using a lot of floss, like holding a lot of floss, and I love him and I want to get him finished. So yeah, there he is. That is my last small. And then I have my last whip, which is the only one that's not Christmas related in some way. So this one is assembly required ink circles. And I was hoping to finish this one, and unfortunately I didn't, which I will tell you why. Here it is. I'm using all the called for everything. Called for fabric, which is 30 count Dove, and DMC 4072, which is a DMC variegated. And I would have finished this. My goal was to finish this before I started any Christmas in July projects, but I've lost the floss. To be honest with you, I was in my son's playroom with him playing and I was stitching on this. We were like talking while I was stitching, and then I got up and cleaned up all my stuff, and then the next time I went to pull it out, I couldn't find the floss. And I think it's probably in his playroom somewhere. I think I've probably like misplaced it with some toys or put it in a bin, which I did look, but I have no idea where it is. So I'm hoping it'll show up. If it doesn't show up before the next time I get some floss, whether that's a 1, 2, 3 stitch order or go to like a craft store, then I will pick some up so I can get him finished, because I was so bummed that I couldn't finish him. I love him so much, and I was hoping to finish him for Summerween, but yeah. As of right now, I don't need any floss, so I don't have any plans to get any, but he can just wait until I get some, because it's kind of nice to have projects in your whip pile that you're like, oh, I can pick that and finish it in a day or two. It's kind of nice to have those projects where you know if you really need to finish, you can pick them up and finish them. And that's an easy fix, just to get one DMC floss to finish him. All right, so that is all my projects. Plan-wise, I do have, I believe, 4 more starts I want to do for Christmas in July. That maybe not want to do, but I can do. And I know I want to start at least one of them, which is Sleigh Bells Ring. And I will also say that I've picked up the Dimensions ornaments, like the Holiday Village ornaments, about 5 times to start. And I've stopped myself. And I've started those other ornament smalls. So I'm probably going to pick that up. I feel like probably the last week of July, I'm going to pick that up and just work on those the rest of the week, because I know how I am. And I know with my other dimensions, even though it's a large project, I sit and I focus in on it and I work on it, and I know I'm going to do that with those. I'm looking up because they're up there on top of my little cabinet. So I know I'm going to start those. I would love to work some more on Soaring Santa. In an ideal world, I'd work on A Christmas Carol too, but I don't know that I'll for sure do that. So yeah. Oh, and I do have that one more Christmas whip I want to touch, the Mill Hill Christmas Village. I would love to touch that. I've really been in the mood to bead lately, which I think is why I was finishing the Mill Hill and the Satsuma Street so quickly. I do need one floss for Clara. Otherwise, I would probably start that too. But I do need one more floss for her, which is a floss that's used a lot. So yeah, if everyone is enjoying their summer, if you're doing any Jolly July, Christmas and July stitching, I know beforehand, tell me what your plans are, but I would love to know what you're actually working on, like what you've touched, or if you're just like, you've touched a lot of things, whatever Jolly July or Christmas and July whip you are currently working on, or if you're not working on Christmas, then just let me know what you're working on down below. I love to see what everybody's working on, and I tend to always add a lot to my wish list when I actually got to do that. So yeah, help me add to my wish list. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next week with a Christmas book flip through, and then the following week for my Christmas and July wrap up of everything else that I have touched. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and got some good stitching in, or whatever you were doing. I hope it went well. I will see you next week with a vintage Christmas cross stitch book flip through. That is a mouthful. All right, bye guys.